Hey Eternal, this is Skinless, the guild leader for the Eternal Alliance, and today we're going to be looking at a very hot topic as far as the Galactic Conquest goes for the items that you purchase. Now, the biggest thing that comes out of this mode, as we all know, is going to be the Rayzor Crest. Now, if you're somebody who's maxing out the crate here in the hard mode, you're getting 44 of the Rayzor Crest Shards every single time, and that's great. That's a large amount if you think about it, especially when it only takes 145 to unlock. And everybody should be, if you maxed the first Galactic Conquest, you should be at 24 shards already, as far as for the Rayzor Crest. Now, none of this really matters if you don't have Beskar Mando. Now, this does give you time to work to get them, especially because when it comes down to it, it is a process to get all of those shards for not only unlock but then to 7-star this ship. And there's a lot of great speculation on what this ship is going to be capable of, what it can do, and I'm sure you've seen many other videos on what the capabilities of this ship are and how it's going to be implicated as far as for within the other bounty hunter faction, and possibly like a Chimera lead, capital ship. The possibilities are endless there, but this ship seems to be something that is going to make a huge difference. The other thing that you have to think about too is we have Galactic Legends coming around the corner. Now, it hasn't necessarily been confirmed, but the thing is that we're approaching April. And just like last year, we received our first Galactic Legends around this time, around April, and then we get the second set in the fall. So we're kind of set up and built up for another Galactic Legend around the corner, especially with the 6 units having been found in the data mine just the other day. So every Galactic Legend has required a ship of some sort that was new, and behind some kind of wall, whether it be that it was just released, or that it was something that was behind a heavy requirement, such as the Finalizer and the Radis, and the other ones were the TIE Bomber as well as the Y-Wing from Rebels. So the speculation is that the Rayzor Crest could be possibly required to be used towards the next Galactic Legend tune, which would kind of put the block there for you to get it. Then I'm sure there would be a counterpart. I mean, that's something we can talk about in another video, but there are speculations of what the other counterpart can be. To that point, though, the question is whether or not to be going for the Rayzor Crest Shards in addition to what we already have. So, as we've found is that you can, on certain nodes, go ahead and purchase Rayzor Crest Shards. You can purchase 4 of them for 500 currency. Wow, so that is a high price, a lot of people are saying, which it can be, depending upon how you feel about the ship, how you are going towards the character, and to that point, what I will say is that you need to think about the amount of currency that you are receiving through all of the Galactic Conquest. So every single node that you play is going to give you 20 currency right off the bat. So every single one of these regular nodes, which there are 13 regular nodes per sector. So any sector we go into, you're going to find yourself 13 nodes. Now, those all give you 20 for a total of 1,300 credits, or I guess the Conquest credits per se. So you're going to get 1,300 just from your regular matches. Then you've got your boss battles, which are going to give you 10 for beating it. So you get an additional 50 there. So for 1,350 if you are completing the board. So once you clear the board, you've got that amount there. Within all that as well, you also have across here, as you complete your feats, you get 75 of those credits as well for hitting certain thresholds. So if you're somebody who is already going to be receiving the top tier rewards, your 44 shards. You're also along the way going to be picking up an additional 750 credits with the 10 waypoints that are across the field. So when we add our 750 together with our 1,350 from the specific nodes that you're playing, because you can't go back and play them again for more, you are capped at 2,100 of those credits that you receive. So to that point, out of that 2,100, let's throw a theory out there. So let me pull up a little chart here. If you were to, purchase, say, 2 shards or 2 sets of shards for 500. So, there was in, I want to say it was, yep, here we go. So in Sector 3, there was 4 shards. So you get your 4 shards for 500. And then you get into Sector 4, and I just came up on it, and there is another 4 shards for 500. Let's say you buy 8 shards for 1,000 currency. That's going to leave you 1,100 currency to still use. But take a look at this. So on this chart here, you can see that this is labeling how many conquests we have coming up, and how many shards that you would have granted you do receive the largest box. So the 44 shards from Galactic Conquest for the Rayzor Crest, and then also outlining the amount of shards that you can purchase. So with this here, I actually received a lot of this data from an initial conversation with Sparhawk and Robear on the Imperial Fleet Server, and we've determined that 8 shards is the optimal amount to purchase for each time if you're looking to advance your Rayzor Crest farm exactly to 7 stars. So to that point, granted, you have to have gotten your 24 shards from the very first conquest to have this be exactly accurate. Now, subtract 4 shards or so, or however many, based on how far you got in the initial one. But you can see that without having purchased any shards, it's going to take you 7 conquests, or because of the cadence of 1 conquest a month, 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, it's going to take you 7 conquests, including the one that we are on, to reach the 7 stars for the Rayzor Crest. If you were to purchase 8 shards for 1,000 currency, that's going to put you in a spot where you're going to get it 1 month early. So that gives you a little bit of an advantage where you're going to have it at that 336 shards, so 6 for the shard shop, and then 330 going into having a 7-star Rayzor Crest with the purchase of 8. And then some people would ask about, well, what if I purchased more? So, if I understand right, I believe 12 is the amount that you can totally get from Conquest. There may be an extra 4, but even if there is, if you think about it, if you were to purchase a total of 16 shards, that's going to be 2,000 currency, and with a cap of 2,100 that you earn from each Conquest, that leaves you 100 currency to really to swap out your discs, and that's not a lot, so it's not anything that I would definitely recommend. So if you were to purchase just 12, however, you're actually doing it in the exact same amount of time, so you're wasting credits by purchasing. So you would purchase less in that case, so you wouldn't actually purchase any per se that last conquest. So you'd save yourself 1,000 credits in that last one, that 6th, but you still have the exact same cadence for the 6 months to get your 7-star Rayzor Crest. So I would not recommend the 12. I would definitely recommend the 8 because of the timing. But if you are already done and you've already spent your credits and you've already done everything for this conquest, just know that you're going to have to make up the additional 8 for this one by purchasing 12 and 2 other conquests. So you'll kind of be leaving yourself a little short. But by looking at this chart, you can see that 8 shards is the optimal amount to try to get that 6-month Rayzor Crest 7-star run. Now, a lot of the Galactic the Galactic Legend characters require a 5 or 6-star ship, so you'd be looking at looking at the 5-star or 6-star a lot earlier, and this can still advance your ability to do so in a way. I mean, well, 3 months or so is where you're going to be at for it, no matter what, whether you purchase or not, because you need 145 for unlock at that 5-star mark. So you're going to be looking at 3 months no matter what. So you're not really advancing that if you're looking at the Galactic Legend. But if you're looking at trying to get the fleet early, this is kind of where you'd be looking at. So if we go back to the actual map, you can kind of see this is that you'd spend your 1,000 and you're still going to have a total of 1,100 credits to go ahead and spend. Now, there are other things to purchase, such as the R8 materials. That's pretty expensive. I wouldn't recommend that. But there's other things that people will be looking at specifically, per se. Let's take a look at, say, in like Sector 3. You've got yourself one of the guys that's going to be selling the flawed signal data, so maybe you want to get some of that, the signal data that the drop rate is absolutely just horrendous on, and you want to get some of these. That's going to leave you 1,100 to do something like that. Or say another great option for this is going to be looking at this guy here with, again, the flawed signal data, along with the incomplete, and then again some very useful items here. But the most useful that I've found that you're probably going to want to spend your other 1,100 on, if you aren't saving any of it for the next one, is going to be the guys in here, which is maybe all this gear 12 pieces. So you've got, and this is relatively inexpensive when it comes down to it. If you think about it, when you can buy your 10 pieces for 180, you know, at buying 5 of these, you're still underneath your 1,000, and you've just got yourself a full injector head, or you've got yourself a full just any one of these pieces. So that's huge. So if you want to not necessarily have to save, but go ahead and have some to spend on these Gear 12 pieces to advance your roster and do other things, you can do so and still buy the 8 shards. So whether or not you want to go ahead and spend your full 2,100 on just materials this time, or if you just want to spend your materials on other things because you don't care how fast you get the Rayzor Crest, then that's all great and dandy. But if you're really trying to get that bounty hunter fleet up and going, getting it to a point where it's completely viable, ready to roll, and being able to possibly get that early jump, really ideally, you can spend the 1,000 credits and still be able to advance your roster in other great ways. So in my opinion, I say it's a definite go, but that's going to be up to you. And I hope that this video is kind of giving you an understanding of what the value of those shards are and the credits that come along with them, and kind of give you some food for thought, per se. So, as always, I appreciate your viewing, and Skinless is out.